Sanjeev Khosla.
Good morning, Professor Khosla.
Dr. Khosla is taking care of IMTech these days. Yeah.
Good morning, Saranjit ji.
Hello. Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Professor Sahu.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Morning.
We have assembled here today to pay tribute of
Kiya ji, let's wait for Chanda ji to join.
Yeah, that's right.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Chanda's brother, Tarun. I'm actually joining from US, and my mom and dad, we are here. We miss our loved Dr. Sahni, but you guys are amazing, and my sister is,
Welcome, sir.
Welcome, Tarunji.
Thank you.
जी आप सबको नमस्ते. आई एम कोहली. नमस्कार.
Good morning, Professor Kohli.
नमस्कार.
Good
Welcome,
morning.
Ajay.
Namaskar. Yes.
I'm here with my sons to attend the meeting. Thanks, you are all being here today with us. Thank you.
Namaskar and welcome.
So Kiya Chanda ji has joined, so
Yeah.
you can start.
Start the meeting now. Mahipal ji, आवाज साफ है. We at SPSTI welcome all who have gathered today to pay tribute to Dr. Girish Sahni. We remember him with gratitude and pride. That such a brilliant mind and humble personality was one of us. We pray to the Almighty for this noble soul, and with Om Shanti, we start today's proceedings. First of all, I request Professor A.K. Grover to give a brief background to the memorial meetings organized by us. Professor Grover.
Good morning, all of you. On the solemn occasion of an online memorial meeting in remembrance of our dear Dr. Girish Sahni, whose high accomplishments are a source of inspiration for all of us. There has been an overwhelming response from the admirers of Girish for today's meeting. We have therefore been compelled to structure the schedule of this meeting in a manner that every participant will get very limited time. It is hoped that different participants will touch upon different facets of Dr. Girish Sahni's life. The entire proceedings of the memorial meeting will be available offline to all those who are unable to join the meeting today, and also to those who are not able to stay till the end of the meeting. Today's online memorial meeting in honor of an international icon is the 10th such meeting that SPSTI has organized since the first such meeting on May 18, 2020 in honor of Dr. S.K. Joshi, who coincidentally was also the Director General of CSIR from 1991 to 1995. Professor S.K. Joshi was well known to all of us. In particular, he was senior of Professor A.N. Pathak at the Physics Department of University of Allahabad. The next 8 online meetings were as follows. The second one was in honor of Father of Radio Astronomy in India, Dr. Govind Swarup, in September of 2022. The next one was in honor of Father of Software Services, Dr. F.C. Kohli, in December 2020. Fakir Chand Kohli was a PU alumnus and he had been awarded Udyog Ratan Award of Punjab University in 2014. The next one was in honor of pioneer of fiber optics, Dr. Narendra Singh Kapani, in January of 2021. Dr. Kapani had been awarded the DSc Honoris Causa degree of Punjab University in 2015. After that, we had a meeting in honor of pioneer of nuclear metallurgical engineering, Dr. Sukumar Banerjee, the former chairperson of Atomic Energy Commission in May 2021. Dr. Banerjee had delivered the PU Foundation Day lecture in the year 2014. After that, we hosted a meeting in honor of internationally renowned cosmologist from India, Dr. T. Padmanabhan, in September 2021. Padmanabhan has been a patron of SPSTI for long. After that, we had a meeting in honor of internationally renowned mathematician, Dr. I.P.S. Pasi, in October 2021. Because Pasi had motivated the SPSTI at the Chandigarh chapters of Science Academies and INIAS to hold public events together. So this is what we have been doing since the year 2020. In March 2022, we have a memorial meeting in honor of our own science historian, Professor Rajesh Kochar, who again had been associated with SPSTI since its inception. Then we had a meeting in honor of Dr. Nityananda, the inventor of Saheli pill, who was given the Vigyan Ratan Award along with Dr. Girish Sahni in the convocation of 2014. Both of them received Gyan Ratan Awards for the years 2013 and 14, respectively. So today's meeting, as well as all the previous meetings, their recordings would remain available on the SPSTI site. And one of the motivations for having these accessible to all is to entice some science historians to take up writing of the biographies of these icons. And Punjab University, STI, and the Chandigarh chapters of Science Academies would facilitate the writing of biographies of all such icons for wider dissemination. This, I take you back to Kea to conduct today's proceedings. Kea.
Thank you, Professor Grover. And our first speaker on our list is Dr. Sanjeev Khosla, Director, CSIR IMTech, Institute of Microbial Technology at Chandigarh. Dr. Khosla, please proceed.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you, Professor Grover, for asking me to start this remembrance meeting for Professor Sahni. It's been a tough 1 month for us trying to follow on from what Professor Sahni actually left us with, and it would be a very difficult task to take everything forward, but we will do our best in IMTech to actually take his legacy forward. I'll start by just giving you a background of his professional career. He was born in 1956 and he's alumni of Punjab University, doing his BSc Honours and MSc Honours in Microbiology from Punjab University. He finished his PhD from Indian Institute of Science and then went on to do a few different postdoctoral stints in US, University of California, Albert Einstein College of Medicine, and so on. He joined IMTech in 1991 and later on, looking at his science and his administrative prowess, he was selected as a director of IMTech in 2005, and he guided us for 10 years till 2015, when he was chosen to be the Director General of CSIR in 2015, and he retired as DG in 2018. He remained associated with IMTech as a CSIR Bhatnagar Fellow till this year, basically. I don't need to tell too much about what he accomplished, because being a biotechnologist, a molecular biologist, and a protein engineer, he had many facets to his science, but he's best known for his love for thrombolytic drugs, and he actually made a mark in identifying first blockbuster drug in India, streptokinase, and kept on improving streptokinase in various forms. He professionally has been given multiple awards. There are multiple awards that he had: National Biotechnology Product Development Award, CSI Technology Shield, Ranbaxy Award in Pharmaceutical Sciences, and so on and so forth. He was he was elected fellow of all the three science academies of India. But for me, I think so. My interactions, though, were limited to the last 4.5 years or so since I joined IMTech. But last 1 month has taught me more about him, because people have been coming in talking about various anecdotes that they have encountered with him, the various advices, mentorships that he has given to various people in IMTech, and I can see his vision and his mentorship across IMTech, whether it's in the laboratories, or whether it is in the gardens that we have. Everywhere you can see what he was able to achieve. He was also a visionary, because he understood the need of developing newer technologies, providing the infrastructures with them. For example, I can tell you that in 2010, IMTech actually developed a very nice biosafety laboratory, BSL-3, and in COVID-19, that was one of the major infrastructures that we actually utilized for the benefits of the society, and it was tremendous that he could understand the need of a biosafety lab in IMTech, because we have been working on various infectious diseases, and that goes on to show that how much he thought ahead of everyone else. Same goes for MTCC, our biorepository. Even there, even though MTCC was part of IMTech from the beginning, but the way he actually developed it into a large biorepository goes on to show how much he understood the need for such biorepositories across India, and that foresight was very important for IMTech. He has been instrumental in various major projects that have come to IMTech. Lot of the scientists in IMTech, even till last, were getting advices from him, and I must say that what he has left is something for us all to cherish and take it forward in the future. So So I will stop at that. I would like to hear from all others the various imprints that he has left on other people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Khosla, for that informative introduction and insight into the character. Next on my list is Dr. Shekhar Mande, but I don't see if he has joined. Dr. Mande. Dr. Shekhar Mande, I don't think he has joined. And if he joins later, we will go over to him. Next is Dr. Naresh Kumar. Dr. Naresh Kumar is a colleague of Dr. Girish Sahni at IMTech when the first transfer of technology on streptokinase happened. Streptokinase is what Dr. Sahni is best known for. So, Dr. Naresh Kumar, please unmute yourself.
Thank you, Professor Grover and SPSTI for organizing this memorial meeting for Dr. Sahni, a dear friend and a colleague, and a deeply focused scientist and researcher, and an extremely capable science administrator. His sudden passing away, we sadly mourn, but would always be proud of his contributions and achievements in the cause of science and technology. Dr. Sahni had star-like qualities, shone brilliantly, lit the world, spaces and people around him, but like a star, ebbed away soon and suddenly. My association with Dr. Girish Sahni dates back to February 1991, when he landed straight from US and we started sharing a sitting space in what was then a fledgling Institute of Microbial Technology. Since then, over a span of more than 30 years or so, our association grew strong and stronger. And I couldn't imagine even in my wildest dream that someday I shall be reading his obituary. We have lost his physical entity, but his numerous contributions, his memory would always stay with us. When I look back, I vividly recollect different aspects of his contributions. First and foremost, he established in IMTech a group of researchers for working on engineered proteins and created world-class facilities and ambience to take up that kind of work. He started work on thrombolytics with natural streptokinase and followed by recombinant or an engineered streptokinase, commonly known as estipase, and took us, both of us, quite an effort to transfer the technology to Cadila Pharma for natural streptokinase and to Shashan Pharma for recombinant streptokinase. These initial successes led us to signing off for technology development programs on clotbuster streptokinase with Nostrum Pharma of US using a novel approach. This was globally a first and led to many path-breaking publications and patents. And this was followed by yet another novel molecule, pegylated streptokinase, which we licensed to Epigen Pharma of Dubai. His contributions in mentoring development of cerulomycin and staphylokinase established him formally as a pioneer in this area. And as Dr. Khosla just said, his understanding of science, technology, and facilities which are needed to take up these facilities further were numerous. The way he took up, MTCC, BRPDC, our protein center, our computer center, do work of world class was legendary. What was so clearly noticeable that Dr. Sahni had an uncanny understanding of how technology can lead to development of novel processes and molecules. This ability was brilliantly used by him during his tenure as DG CSIR, where he put great emphasis on taking lab developments to eventual industrial applications. And this was very well brought out by Dr. Shekhar Mande when I saw his note posted on the day he died. He not only mentored various scientific groups in IMTech in technology development, but pan CSIR, he gave tremendous push to generate technological leads, thus bringing industry much closer to working scientists. In my 35 years of working in CSIR, I have had the privilege of working with many directors, almost all of CSIR IMTech, and a few director generals, including Dr. Mashelkar, Dr. Brahmachari, Dr. Thiramasamy. What I observed that Girish, trained as a bench scientist, had perhaps, I qualify by saying perhaps, the most developed sense of working with industrial systems and processes. He understood technology like a tea. Another strong aspect of his persona was the way which governed his day-to-day conduct was his strong ethical and moral beliefs, cultivated by his following the path charted by Guruji of Radha Swami Satsang of Beas. Meditation, philosophical moorings, and spiritual beliefs guided him throughout his short stay on this terra firma. I'm beneficiary of many of such discussions with him, which he felt principles of our daily acharan and vivahar. Dr. Sahni's belief in maintaining family and social relationship was also an admirable trait in him. He and his family stayed for more than 23 years in IMTech campus. He, Mrs. Sahni, his sons Pratik and Nikhil were a part of larger IMTech family, and all of those staying in campus were like his extended family. And his passing away is a personal loss to all of them. The way he enriched the social life would always be missed by his not being there. As parting words, extending my condolences, I say it with deeply felt sorrow that persons like Girish Sahni are always missed. He shone like a star, but unfortunately, alas, like a star dimmed too soon. My heartfelt tribute to him. Thank you.
Yeah, Shekharji has joined.
Yes.
Thank you, Professor Grover. I am joining from the airport, and there might be some background noise for which I apologize at the outset. But I joined specially in remembrance of a very close friend of ours and my immediate predecessor in CSI, Dr. Girish Sahni. I'm sure many things have been talked about Girish on this forum. My first meeting with him was in December 1995 when I joined IMTech Chandigarh, and he was a natural senior to me. We of course knew that both of us came from very similar backgrounds, having done PhD in IISc Bangalore, having spent a few years overseas, and having returned to India with some kind of goals. But what struck about Girish the most was his deep passion for science, and in turn, passion for converting the scientific discoveries into technologies. And I'm sure many people have talked about it. I'm sure Naresh talked about it just now, is that Girish's passion for converting science into technology was unparalleled that I've seen amongst the contemporary scientists. It was a great pleasure for me to interact with him for many years at IMTech Chandigarh. We co-authored many papers. We at least co-authored a few papers together on streptokinase. We often used to meet either in his office or in my office, and we often get into discussions which were regarding to protein engineering, about how to tweak activities of proteins, and so on and so forth. And because I was a structural person, I would bring in structural perspectives, but Girish would bring in very deep biochemical perspectives about the understandings of protein function. I really cherish my memories with him. The other things that I learned from him, even in the early days at IMTech Chandigarh, was how to manage science and how to manage one's own work, personal life, balance, and so on and so forth. Girish was extremely good at all of these. And in fact, there were so many things to learn about how to manage science from his own way of handling things with the stores and purchase, with the finance, with the administration, and so on and so forth. And that stood me ground for many years, even when he was my immediate predecessor at CSR headquarters. Even there, he actually served as a good mentor for everything that I went to do with him. Once I moved to Delhi, we had only a few chances to meet up together. He had come to my office a couple of times. I had met him a couple of times in Chandigarh. And his passing away was extremely untimely, as everyone would have said. He was taken aback by complete shock about his passing away. And in his passing away, we have lost not only a good scientist, not only a good person who can convert technologies, science into technologies, not one of the pioneers of biotechnology in the country, but personally, I have lost a very good friend with whom I could converse on any topic at any point of time. I would like to offer condolences on Vigyan Bharati, which I represent, and on my personal behalf to his family. And I also wish Girish peace wherever he is resting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mande, for sharing your experiences with Dr. Sahni. Thanks. I now request Professor Dr. K.K. Talwar, former Director PGI Chandigarh and also former Chairman of the Medical Council of India, to speak. Dr. Talwar. Please unmute yourself, Professor Talwar.
Is it okay, madam? Am I audible now?
Yes, audible.
Well, I first also express my gratitude to Dr. Grover and Kohli for this giving me a chance to join, for paying our condolences to our very dear friend. Dr. Sahni, I came to know, I knew him before even I joined PGI. And that was mainly because of his contribution, which really affected the cardiology directly. The streptokinase, the thrombolytic therapy was one of the considered to be one of the breakthrough that time in helping patients with acute myocardial infarction. That we had urokinase, we had streptokinase, but this molecule was expensive that time with us, and many patients could not afford it. And even AIMS that time when I was there, patient have to pay for this drug. But this was his contribution, that streptokinase Indian indigenous which came, the cost was 1/5 to that of the original cost. So I think that made many patients to have this life-saving therapy. And I think salute to him and his team mates, workers for having that we could have such Indian molecule. And this also helped many other developing nations because of the cost. And so when I joined PGI, we used to interact and discuss on these issues. And then I think gradually we moved into a clot-specific kind of thrombolytic therapy. We had TPA, we had inactipylase. And then this time he and his team started working on a clot-specific streptokinase. So I always, we used to discuss when he was planning phase 2 and even the phase 3 study. And it was really great to interact with him. And we were looking, I think the phase 3 was done with the clot specific. Of course, we're looking forward to, because we thought the cost of the clot specific thrombolytic therapy like TPA costs about $800 to $1,000. And we were hoping that this will cost around less than $100. So I think that's what as the field of cardiology, many heart patient benefited from his, I think, great contribution in the field. He was a very humble person. Rather, I was shocked when I learned from the newspaper. I rang up Dr. Kohli after a few hours of that, what happened, because in between I used to talk to him. I always thought he's quite healthy. So then I learned about the sudden event, how suddenly it happened. My heartfelt condolences to the family, his children, and pray God give them strength to bear this tragedy, as well as his noble soul rest in peace. I am sure his soul is going to keep on guiding youngsters in the field of science and research. Pranam, Om Shanti.
Thank you, Dr. Talwar, for those interesting facts about streptokinase and Dr. Girish Sahni. We would now like to listen to Srimati Chanda Sahni. Madam, can you please unmute yourself?
Yeah.
Say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you so much, all of you present here. As we are here to remember Dr. Sahni, my husband, and the presence of all of you means a lot to me and my family. What to say about his personality? All of you know how great a person he was. Very, very humble, very kind, very loving and very, very caring person. Maybe for the family or outside anyone, he loved the creatures of God. He was a great person spiritually and of course, scientifically. You all know about his science work. More than me, rather, I should say. He was at times very much excited about his work. I was from mathematics background, so didn't know much about biology or this microbiology. But he used to discuss things at home, whatever he did in the lab all the day. He used to discuss everything. He told everything up to me. And with all excitement, he was just like jumping while telling this thing has happened. This molecule is acting like this. He was so very excited all the time for science. Also, he was extremely humble, very humble, honest person, very honest person. Actually, his belief in spirituality, I don't know how many people here know about that part of personality. I was really struck to see the spirituality he had in mind all the time. Once we went to Rishikesh. It was early times of my life with him. We went to Rishikesh. If people here have been to that place, there's a Paramartha ashram in Rishikesh. I was just looking at the scenery there, hills, beautiful Ganga, and so many sculptures there. I was busy wandering here and there, and suddenly I just turned and saw him reading Kabir Das Ji's dohas written on the walls. I just went to him, and to all my surprise, I was just stunned to see tears in his eyes. He just read all those, and I could just feel that emotion, how spiritually he was inclined. He was really touched. And that was the day after that he started talking to me, explaining me what spirituality means to any human being. And I think that is the main strength I have got to bear this biggest loss of my family life. For science, you know about his work, his streptokinase. Yes, he was very happy for that, but he was much more happier that he was able to help the weaker section of the society, which was always his aim. He always felt about that weaker section of the society, always. Now, here, because I know many senior scientists are here, my humble request. Nowadays, the latest work he was doing in Palampur was about a stroke molecule, the same streptokinase molecule, next versions, he kept on trying. And now his work on stroke molecule was going on in Palampur, I asked one day whether you are going to pursue that, as you have already retired now. Even Bhatnagar fellow is gone. Are you still ready to do that? Of course, he said, yes, why not? It will be my master's wish. If he wants me to help the poor, help the weaker society with this molecule also, definitely this will come, as the results are wonderful. As the results, the work they carried out in Japan on monkeys, they got wonderful results. My humble request to all the dignitaries here, it will be a greatest tribute to that person if this work of his can be carried out and this molecule could come for the society. It will be a greatest tribute to this person. He loved everyone and never, ever kept any bad feeling about anyone in his mind. See, life is not the same every day. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not that good, sometimes sad, sometimes happy with his work, sometimes some arguments with the people. But this was his regular schedule. He used to come, lock himself in the room for half an hour, do meditation, and whenever he comes out of that room, he had all smiles on his face. Nothing in my mind about anyone. No bad feeling. And he was himself very surprised on this achievement. Spiritual achievement, I should say. He was always like that. And I really admired him for this. That's what to say. It's a big loss for all of us. But still, that strength is coming from him only to bear it. Science, you all know. Family, now I am telling you, he gave us a wonderful life throughout. And he himself was always engrossed in science. He didn't enjoy the perks and everything. He got as director general. We were the one who enjoyed everything. He enjoyed his science. He enjoyed his work, always his work. He was so dedicated, either to work, to family, and to his dearest master. Now, I think I must thank you all for being here, remembering him, saying wonderful words about him. Thanks to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chandaji. Thanks, ma'am, for throwing light on the lesser known side of his life and character. Thank you very much. We shall surely endeavor to see that his work is carried on. Thank you. I now invite Dr. Ajay Sood, FRS, who is currently PSA to Government of India, Principal Scientific Advisor. Ajay ji, please unmute yourself.
Thank you very much. First of all, my thanks to SPSTI and Professor Grover for organizing this memorial meeting. The ultimate passing away of Dr. Girish Sahni is a big loss, not only to his close family, but also for his entire scientific fraternity. A life full of zeal, enthusiasm, and desire to contribute to nation building was snatched away too soon. I have two connections with Dr. Girish Sahni because both of us are alumni of Punjab University. I did it in physics department in 1972 along with Arun, and also ISC alumnus. I came to know Dr. Sahni more closely when I was a member of the CSIR Society and the CSIR Governing Board during Dr. Sahni's stint as Director General. He was open to criticism. I remember the meetings. He was open to suggestions. And he was always thinking deeply on realigning the goals of CSIR, where he was very clear that the I in CSIR, the I in CSIR needs to be brought back with much more rigor and with much more strength. I could see that he was totally committed to see a synergy between basic research and taking it to society applications in a seamless manner. His own path-breaking work on India's first indigenous drug, clot-busting drug, which we just heard, natural streptokinase, in my view, was a very perfect example of how the high-quality research in protein engineering and molecular biology can lead to path-breaking translational outcome. He and his group over the years delineated the mechanism of action of their molecules within the human body. And I recall I visited IMTech during his directorship. And I could see the enthusiasm, pride, excitement when he took me around the laboratory, showing the pilot plant, showing the labs, showing the biodepositories, showing the gardens, everything. It was really like he was totally into it. And I was so happy to see a totally dedicated dedication to science and really achieving the goals of taking science to society. This is becoming all the more important in these years, and we need to keep Girish Sahni's example in mind that basic science and applied science are really not separate. They are the two wheels of the same innovation rath, which we can call, and it is essential that we do not have this artificial divide between fundamental science and applied science. We all know basic science of today is applied science of tomorrow, and that is how the humanity has been a beneficiary of scientific work over the many centuries. We will miss Girish for his contributions to science, for his warm friendship, and very positive approach to life and positive contributions to science and society. I offer my deepest condolences not only to his immediate family, we just heard Chandaji, but also to the extended academic family who really love him for connecting to the whole community in a very positive manner. May his soul rest in peace. Om Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Sood, for bringing out various facets of his personality. Thank you. Next on my list is Professor Renu Vig, Vice Chancellor, Punjab University, but she is unable to be present here today. So I will read out a message received from her. Professor Renu Vig's message for memorial meeting of Dr. Girish Sahni. It was indeed a shocking message that we read on August 19, 2024, that Dr. Girish Sahni is no more. Dr. Sahni, a towering figure in the Indian scientific community, made groundbreaking contributions to the field of biotechnology. His exceptional leadership as director of IMTech and DG of CSIR was marked by a visionary approach and a relentless pursuit of excellence. a proud alumnus of Punjab University, Dr. Sahni graduated with honors in microbiology from 1973 to 1978. His long-term connection to the university was evident in his role as an honorary professor and his recognition as Vigyan Ratna. We at Punjab University are deeply honored to have had Dr. Sahni as a part of our academic legacy. His groundbreaking research, mentorship of countless scientists, and untiring dedication to improving human health will continue to inspire generations to come. He was a very lively individual and excellent orator. Whenever Punjab University extended him an invitation to join for any event, despite his busy schedule, he will take out time to address students and faculty. His remarkable journey and achievements will continue to inspire Punjab University fraternity. Thanks to Professor Renu Vig for those kind words. Next to speak, or rather read out a message from, is Dr. Raj Bahadur, former Vice Chancellor of Baba Farid University of Health Sciences, Punjab. So I will now read out the message received from Dr. Raj Bahadur, which is written on behalf of Forum of Retired Vice Chancellors. The message reads from Dr. Raj Bahadur. We, the members of Forum of Former Vice Chancellors and Directors, resolve to place on record our deep sense of grief on the sad demise of our revered member, Dr. Girish Sahni, former Director General of CSI. Dr. Girish Sahni, born March 2, 1956, who was an elite member of our forum of former VCs and directors of the region, passed away, leaving behind a void in family, friends, and academic and scientific fraternity. An alumnus of Punjab University, his scientific contributions made a niche for himself, being director of IMTech Chandigarh for a decade, and later as DGCSIR by his sheer hard work. His contribution to develop India's first indigenous clotbuster drug shall remain as a significant contribution to society. We all feel as a loser for not finding him in our forum and extend our heartfelt collective condolences to bereaved family and pray to God to grant him a place in his domain and strength to the family to bear this unbearable, unbelievable loss. Signed, S.S. Chahal and Raj Bahadur. I now request Professor K.N. Pathak, our former Vice Chancellor and Professor of Physics at Punjab University. He was a teacher there when Girish ji studied in the university. He studied physics for 1 year as BSc Honours School Microbiology student. Professor Pathak. Maypalji Pathak ji ne join kiya. So Professor Pathak has not joined. If he joins later, we will include him. Dr. Satyamurthy.
Yeah, he has sent a message to you.
Okay, I'll see that and read it out later. So can I now request Dr. Satyamurthy, who is a former director, founder director of ICER Mohali. Professor Satyamurthy.
Thank you, madam, for giving me this opportunity to say a few words about my great friend, good friend, Girish Sahni. Words fail me and my wife in expressing our sorrow and heartfelt condolences to Mrs. Sahni and their children. My association with Girish Sahni goes back in time much before I came to Chandigarh as the founding director of IISER Mohali. I was a convener for the Department of Biological Sciences and Bioengineering at IIT Kanpur. We needed some senior biology researcher who would come to IIT Kanpur and help us build the department. When Professor Balram suggested that I contact Girish, he agreed to come to IIT Kanpur and give a seminar, which he did. But then he could not help IITK because his father was not well and he had to be in Chandigarh. In 2007, when I came to Chandigarh to initiate the process of setting up of IISER Mohali, one of the first persons I called was Girish. He was abroad, but he readily offered to help us in our endeavor. He gave essentially a blank check. We could count on him and IMTech for anything that we needed to get IISER going. He let me borrow Anand Bachawat at IMTech for starting the academic program at IISER Mohali. We could count on IMTech infrastructure for all our immediate needs. When we started the academic program at IISER Mohali, he gave the first Foundation Day lecture. He was the first member of our Research Advisory Committee. He was invariably a member of our selection committee, particularly for biology. He kept the standards high. When a faculty candidate was not up to the mark of IISER Mohali, he would simply nod his head, just like this. Then I knew there was no further discussion. When I wanted to offer a professorial position to Anand Bachawat and to Purnanand Gupta Sharma, he was not happy. But he let them both go because he knew that IISER Mohali, in its formative years, needed those two experienced scientists much more than IMTech did. He would invite me for the Foundation Day lecture and any other important function at IMTech. There was no important function at IISER Mohali in which Girish did not participate.
Because okay, thank you.
As long as he was in Chandigarh, of course, once he left for Delhi, it was difficult for him to join us in our various activities. But we kept in touch with him, with the Girish Sahni, not so much the Director General CSIR, in the growth of IISER Mohali. For his help and contribution to building IISER Mohali, what it is today, we are immensely grateful to Girish. May he rest in peace.
Thank you, Professor Satyamurthy, for telling us about Dr. Sahni's contributions to IISER Mohali. I have now located the message from Professor K.N. Pathak, former Vice Chancellor, Punjab University. I shall read it out. Professor Pathak writes, I am unable to attend today at 11 a.m. Thanks for asking me to join. Please convey my respected friend Girish Sahni, for my respected friend Girish Sahni, my heartiest homage. We had some common administrative tenure during that period, and thereafter our intimacy grew. He was elected INSA Fellow when I happened to be in the council. I was asked to speak about his work, and I spoke to the best of my knowledge. His work on streptokinase with low cost was outstanding. Homage again to this great soul. Regards, Professor K.N. Pathak. We would now request Dr. T. Ramasamy, former Secretary of DST, Government of India, to speak. Dr. Ramasamy.
Good morning. I'm grateful to SPSTI for organizing this homage of the fellow scientists to a great soul. Of course, Girish and I are fellow travelers in life through CSIR. I always believe CSIR, for the people who work for it, is like a large extended family. But I see Shekhar and Naresh carrying some of those joint moments. Every family, there will always be someone who relates to every member of this family in the intergenerational times. People come, people go, but there'll be some names will continue in the family structure, family tree. And I believe in the CSIR extended family. One such member who left a lasting signature that will last for generations is Girish. I have interacted with him. I've known him as a scientist, I've known him as a director, known him as a director general, because I was born a few years earlier and we had many joint exercises to go through. This was pointed out by many about his extraordinary commitment to translational effort. And there are scientists who carry out research which is celebrated by other scientists. There are scientists who do work which is celebrated by other people, even citizens. And Girish had a priority for what I call the science for humanity. And in this, what I like to record today is an unusual leadership trait that he brought into his workplace. It was not just doing his own work, but making other people share his viewpoints. So what I want to recall today, more than his own work, what he stood for in his workplace. It is something that will last for generations, not only in CSIR, but anyone who now believes that one of the purpose of science is also add values to humanity. And I sincerely believe that Girish is a very important member of this academic community and joint family of the council. I share the grief along with the rest of the members of the family, extended family, immediate family, joint family. Of course, Girish in physical space may have gone, and I believe in spirit, he will remain a permanent member of those who for whom science has a purpose to go. May soul of Girish stay peaceful. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ramasamy, for recalling his humanitarian philosophy. Thank you. And now it is the turn of another stalwart, Professor K. Vijay, former ESA Principal Scientific Advisor to Government of India and also former Secretary to DBT. Dr. Vijay is not in this country, but he has sent an audio message, which we will put up in a few seconds.
It is not audible.
Yeah, there was no sound.
Yeah, just play it using the computer in front of the microphone.
Mahipalji, give me a sec. Mahipal is adjusting. Mahipalji will adjust. It was received just a short while ago. We did not have the time to
Shocked to hear of the sudden passing of Dr. Girish Sahni, former Director General of the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. I had interacted closely with Girish over many years, first at DBT committees, later on when he was Director of IMTech, and then when he was DG CSIR. Our interactions were several, and I will always remember them. His passing is a deep shock, I'm sure, to his family and friends, and my heartfelt condolences to them. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Vijay Raghavan, for those nice, inspiring words.
He is in New York, that is why he would not join.
I would now like to call upon Dr. Sanjay Kumar, former Director, IHBT. This is the Institute of Himalayan Bioresource Technology, Palampur. He has also been a collaborator of Dr. Girish Sahni as Bhatnagar Fellow at IHBT. Dr. Sanjay Kumar.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. And thank you, Professor Brower and SPSTI for this chance to share my thoughts for Professor Girish Sahni. And I must tell that I was very fortunate to have this opportunity to work with him when he was DG CSIR and I was the director at IHBT. Almost 3 years, we were very closely with each other. And I witnessed during this period his selfless commitment to CSIR success. And I must share that Dr. Sahni also served as the interim director of IHBT for a month before I received the baton from him. And his optimistic approach and dedication to the institute left a lasting impression during his brief time here. And I was so fortunate to have taken from him. And you will all agree with me that he was a passionate champion of CSIR with his exceptional scientific acumen and the administrative skills. And when he took over as DG CSIR, his dream was to see CSIR leave an indelible mark on the nation and make its presence felt in the lives of people. And he used to share his thoughts with us that let us plant a seed of progress in CSIR, that it must blossom into a meaningful change, and people should remember what CSIR is and what CSIR can do. And for that, he said that we should organize CSIR labs into different themes and let us leverage the activities and outcome so that, people are benefited. And you can see when he was the DG CSIR, he worked a lot to enhance the visibility of CSIR. He also tried to bridge the technology gap. And his mission was that our farmers, our societies, our industries, our startup, they should benefit. I remember, discussion with him, and he said that we should do something with our Indian medicinal plant, Ayurvedic plant, plant-bearing essential oil, and so on. And, major missions he started at that time, like Aroma Mission, Phytopharma Mission, and Nutraceutical Mission. He loved the word mission. He said that if we work in a mission mode, we can deliver the target stuff in the targeted time. And he was very much careful. Whatever money we are spending, there should be return on the investment. ROI word we first learned from him. He always used to work on impact assessment. Whatever we do, there should be good impact on the society. And he said that we should try to inculcate the habit of science and scientific temper in the youngsters. So he started Indian Science Festival, Jigyasa, where all the students from the schools, they would come to CSI lab and they would learn several things about science. So he was very passionate about it. And he has a remarkable capability. You know, he would interact with all different 37 lab scientists, whether they belong to molecular biology, healthcare, agriculture, environment, mining, oceanography, aeronautics, earth sciences, and he will give very remarkable insight and guidance to all those people. And if you talk to him, micro detailing and micromanagement of the project, they were keywords of his operation. And when I worked so closely with him, I realized that he is a person who will set and achieve goals. He is a person who will overcome challenges. He is a person who will communicate very effectively. And also he will take the responsibility. And I must share with all of you that his passion for science, his commitment to excellence, and his gentle hearted, it was very inspiring for all of us. And he had a knack of using anecdotes to explain even the most complex scientific theories. That was his very remarkable capability, which very few people will have. And I will always cherish the memories of my interaction with Dr. Sahni. His wisdom, his guidance, his tireless energy were a constant source of inspiration. He was a person 24/7. I think I saw that special trait with him. And before I end, I would like to end with very nice lines of a very famous poet. And it says that जिंदगी है तो ख्वाब है तो मंजिलें हैं तो फासले हैं तो रास्ते हैं तो मुश्किलें हैं तो हौसला है और हौसला है तो विश्वास है कि जीत हमारी है. So he always used to give us this message: we will be victorious, have faith, and you all will progress well. So we will all miss Dr. Sahni very badly, and our condolences are with his family and all our fraternity who are so closely associated with him. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sanjay Kumar. Those were wonderful words to recall the contributions of a colleague. Thank you. I now call upon Dr. Suresh Kumar Yadav, current director of IHBT, same institute, to say a few words. Dr. Suresh Kumar Yadav.
Yeah, namaskar. Thank you very much, SPSTI, and particularly Dr. Arun Grover, who conducted this whole meeting in the remembrance of Dr. Girish Sahni. As Dr. Sanjay already said about the contributions of Dr. Girish Sahni in CSIR, I remember a few moments when I was also there in IHBT during that time when he took over charge as a director of IHBT, additional charge when he was the director of IMTech. During that time in, I think if I remember correctly, it is from 1st May to 10th of June, he took over as a additional director charge in the time on the very first day when he visited IHBT, he interacted with all the scientists of IHBT, and he met with all of us during dinner time, and he really shown interest in the research activities of each scientist and given suggestions on the very first day. And he also decided that these young scientists should be given some dedicated money to run their lab in the beginning of their career. So that was a very nice initiative which he took during a very short span of time in the IHBT. Still, people remember when I interacted with my scientists at IHBT, they said that this is one of the very useful initiative for the younger generations. Dr. Sanjay also mentioned that he is motivator of the young generation. So he keep on discussing the new ideas. He also telling the ideas to them and also learning from them to take the science one step ahead. He was the one who coined the terms for low-hanging fruits and high-hanging fruits in terms of technological perspective, which many speakers have spoken about. But these terminologies has actually given a very strong shape and connected the whole CSIR with the industry, and he just give example of the societal beneficial technologies which were developed across CSIR, and he projected one figure that the technologies which have been developed by all CSIR are impacting strongly to the society, and he counted in terms of money, and the figure was given more than 30,000 crore rupees, the technologies which have been developed, maybe direct or indirect impact on the society. So he's not only really a booster of science, but he is also, I think, back of his mind, he's always keeping that something which we are doing should reach to the society, and it give more happiness if it will give the benefit to our society. This is what we learned from them, and because of his leadership in terms of the 8 themes which have been set up during his tenure as a Director General, as Dr. Sanjay also mentioned, they are still continuing those 8 themes. And those 8 themes not only on the subject, but they could also connect the several CSIR laboratories and also the other laboratories in the India, and they could now understand the importance of multidisciplinary science and how the science can be built up and the technology can be generated by utilizing the expertise of different fields, and we can together develop the technology. That message was strongly inbuilt through those themes. And now, as I mentioned, that the one of the initiative of financial funding to the younger generations, last year CSIR has initiated a seed fund for the younger scientists that could be a thought based on the Dr. Girish Sahni's thought, which he, I think, initiated during that time. So all young generations remembering him, and he was a great passionate for science, and he has, I think, inculcated that message to each and everyone of scientific fraternity and younger generations who are directly or indirectly related with the science. I strongly express my heartfelt condolence from my own side as well as from my institute side, that he will be remembered very long through the people who actually got suggestions, directions, and learned a lot from his experiences. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Yadav, for sharing your experiences. Dr. R.K. Tuli will now say a few words. Dr. Tuli is ex-executive director of NABI. Dr. Tuli.
Thank you. My thanks to SPSTI for organizing this meeting and for asking me to express my experiences with the departed soul as a colleague in CSIR when I was stationed at the National Botanical Research Institute, Lucknow. During almost as many years I spent there, Dr. Girish Sahni was at IMTech most of the time. He was director here, and we used to interact very often. On this occasion, I join with a heavy heart to honor the life of Dr. Girish Sahni and to express my deep gratitude for his extraordinary contributions to science and medicine. See, various facets of Dr. Sahni's pioneering contributions to science and technologies have been mentioned by friends earlier, and these narrations can never be adequate. I personally feel 3 messages in particular stand out for youngsters and science managers out of the way Dr. Sahni looked at science and carried out his research. The first message, I think, is loud and clear. Research is a continuous activity and requires deep creativity and does not end at any milepost. This lesson is deeply embedded in the successes of Dr. Sahni through nearly 15 years of his discoveries as he moved from generation 1 to 2, then 3, and finally generation 4, clotbusters. Also, as Madam Chandana ji mentioned some time back, his continuing plans were to develop yet another molecules against stroke. The second important message I feel is, no matter how good the state of science may have reached in your area of research at a given point of time, science offers fathomless opportunities. The bar of creativity can be raised further to achieve previously unthought breakthroughs. That's what Girish did. For example, FDA in US had approved streptokinase as first generation drug for myocardial infarctions as early as 1977. Subsequently, they approved a second generation drug, a human protein called as tissue plasminogen activator, for similar clinical treatment in 1987. In spite of so much work having been done in the past, Dr. Sahni could see gaps in the knowledge. Though he started some 18 years after the first molecule, streptokinase, had been brought to market, he continued to make multiple breakthroughs to improve its efficiency, safety, specificity, and reduce the cost of its manufacture. The third important message that I feel goes out is, the scientists in us strive for excellence and deep discovery. These are fathomless pursuits of long-term value. However, the entrepreneur within us must keep taking pauses and recognize opportunities along the way to bring meaningful products to society in parallel. This is richly exemplified by stepwise addition of value and commercialization of streptokinase in form of version 1 to version 4, while excellent science continued to be done by Dr. Sahni. So Dr. Sahni's acumen, both as a scientist and entrepreneur, has been mentioned by others, and it further became valuable for CSIR when he assumed the office of Director General in 2015. At that time, following the implementation of 7th Pay Commission, which we who were in CSIR with him as colleagues, we know that CSIR was left in a tight spot financially in 2016, 2017. Dr. Sahni rose to the challenge and led the labs to identify technologies that were nearly ready for commercialization. CSIR shortlisted some 40 industry-ready or nearly ready projects for periodical, I recall it was quarterly reviews, if not earlier, by subject experts for accelerated decision-making and committed budgetary support. See, I was a member of some of those committees, which led to building new partnerships with industry and generated new revenue for the labs. Now, on a more personal note, I fondly recall several conversations we used to share on phone when both of us were directors of our respective labs. Dr. Sahni, like a good friend, used to freely offer his advice and support in implementing team research projects, and also in several discussions at directors' meeting at headquarters. He was particularly generous, when I sought his help once when I was functioning as director of Central Drug Research Institute at Lucknow. He was personally helpful in moving one of my younger, brilliant colleagues from CDRI to IMTech. We both believed the colleague would thrive better at IMTech, and that was a good decision taken together. Finally, I would like to recall that Sahni, as a very passionate enthusiast who also enriched IMTech campus aesthetically. On multiple occasions, he used to seek help from me at NBRI in deputing landscaping, floriculture experts and landscaping experts to enhance aesthetic planning at IMTech and later at CSIR headquarters. Hence, as we mourn the loss of an extraordinary scientist, a leader and a friend, we also celebrate his life, his works, and his unwavering dedication to science, society, and human values. My deep condolences. Om Shanti.
Thank you, Dr. Tudi. There were some interesting observations. Thank you. Now I call upon Dr. R.S. Sangwan, former Director, SIAB, and ex-Vice Chancellor, CSIR University, Ghaziabad. Dr. Sangwan.
Thank you.
Dr. Sangwan if he's not there, we will, or if he's taking time to join, there is a brief message. Please allow me to read it out. It will take only a minute. This message is from Dr. Manoj Arora, VC, SRM University, Andhra Pradesh. Manoj Arora was right here at PEC. So he writes, "Good morning, colleagues. I am in Amsterdam today and will try to join." Join to me, Karge. There is no better day than today, the Engineers' Day, when we pay tribute to a great scientist who has been instrumental in facilitating several technologies to the country. He was an integral part of CRICSI in its formative stage, and I was lucky to get associated with Dr. Sahni. Recently, we invited him to deliver a lecture on scientific progression to grand profession under University Distinguished Lecture Series. Professor Sahni was accompanied by Madam Chanda. What a great lecture it was, sharing he has shared the newspaper cutting, but I can't see it. Okay. So further, he writes, Dr. Arora writes, he has indeed created a void in Indian scientific community. That was the message from Manoj Arora. So we now go ahead with the rest of the speakers. And next on my list is Dr. Saranjit Singh, former director of NIPER. Dr. Saranjit Singh, please unmute yourself.
What happened to the Dulal Panda? You skipped the list.
Good afternoon.
You are there on the list, Dr. Panda? Okay, right. He's just above. I'm sorry, but I would have come to you. Okay, Dr. Dulal Panda, Director NIPER. Dr. Dulal Panda, present Director NIPER. And Girish Sahni was Chairman, Board of Governors, NIPER. Dr. Panda now. Excuse me, Dr. Saranjit Singh, you come next. Dr. Dulal Panda, please.
At the outset, I thank the SPSTI and Professor Gover for organizing this memorial meeting. I joined this meeting with a very heavy heart. His untimely passing away is a big loss to Indian scientific community, especially for NIPER Mohali. He was the chairman of BOG. So I lost a very dear friend and a mentor. I have known Girish nearly 23 years after joining IIT Bombay. We became close friends when I joined DST PAC as a member in 2007. From that time, I learned a lot from him by sitting with him side by side in the meetings. Both of us spent time as a postdoctoral fellow in UC Santa Barbara. We used to talk about the Santa Barbara, Goleta beaches, and his postdoctoral lab and my postdoctoral lab. So we used to talk about, UC Santa Barbara, other UC system a lot in the last few years. He was one of the few Indian scientists with clear product developmental ideas. So he used to think clearly about problem solving and economy generation through innovation. So his research was that we must do something innovative and it must be for the society. As a chairman of BOG, he took a lot of interest in NIPER developmental activities. He wanted to involve himself in as many activities as possible. He even used to come for our screening meetings. So always he extended his helping hands. He inspired me a lot to start the incubation center at NIPER Mohali. For each and everything, he wanted to know how are things going. So his passing away is a big loss for NIPER Mohali. I think he could have served Indian science several years to come. So I do not want to prolong, but this is a big vacuum that is created for Naipar, particularly Naipar and Mohali. And with this, I signed off.
Thank you very much, Dr. Panda, for telling us about the connections between Dr. Sahni and Naipur. Thank you. Dr. Sharanjit Singh, sorry for the mix-up. I now request Dr. Sharanjit Singh, former director Naipur, to please say a few words.
Thank you, Madam. I'm really thankful to Dr. Grover for inviting me at this memorial meeting, and with the galaxy of presence of colleagues, friends, and admirers of Dr. Girish Sahni. Dr. Sahni was contemporary to me at Punjab University, although we were in different departments. I joined Naipur in 1994 after serving Punjab University as faculty for 13 years. And around 1991, he shifted to IMTech, where he distinguished himself. And I will say with confidence that he left us all in awe during his translation research. He illustrated that we Indian scientists can also be exemplary and deliver products to the needy and society. As just highlighted by Dr. Dulal Panda, Director Naipur, Dr. Sahni was lately the Chairman Board of Governors of Naipur. Of course, he has been associated with Naipur throughout in various capacities, and we had a chance to interact off and on. I was just told by one of my colleagues in Naipur, Dr. Abhay Pandey, that even a day before his demise, he had half an hour discussion with him with respect to a white paper that is ready for dispatch under the title Catalyzing and Accelerating a New Phase of Indian Biopharma, along with Professor Anil and Girish, again, another professor on Naipur. And it is going to appear in October in one of the books. Such was his zeal to take the country forward. I must say that not only Naipur, he was always available to help all Tri-City institutes and contributed immensely by his positive attitude and leadership qualities, as mentioned by other friends. Personally, I will say something. At the cremation ground, after placing wood on the body and before the pyre was burnt, I got a few seconds to console Nikhil, his younger son, by saying, "Your father was a gem scientist." And his painful reply was, "Is it not that he went away so young?" I understand it's a tough time for every member of the grieving family, his students, and all other nears and dears, as Dr. Girish's departure from his mortal world was untimely and sudden. To all of you, and especially to the madam, along with Pratik and Nikhil, I will only cite a quote. "While you dwell on the loss, also look back at years of good memories and thank the Almighty. Going forward, surrender to God for strength and support. My gratitude and condolences." Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sharanjit Singh. Thanks for those kind words. Now I request Dr. R.K. Sinha, former director, CSIO.
Okay. First of all, I hope my voice is clear there.
Absolutely clear.
Yeah. First of all, I thank SPSTI and Professor Grover for keeping me in this loop on the sudden demise of our mentor, leader, Dr. Girish Sahani's memorial celebration, I will say. I do recall meeting Professor Girish Sahani when I joined at CSIU Chandigarh as a first director, I met him to take his advice and just an acquaintance. And it so happened, I think I have met him on a 22nd of August 2015. And after that, I came to know that he became the Director General. So we were very happy that the Chandigarh is representing the CSIR. And when he was a Director General, CSIR, during that period, I do recall the 12th five-year plan period was getting ended in 2017, 16, 17, and new ways of funding the science mechanism, and particularly in the CSIR, is visualized by him, implemented by him. The term called the FTTP, Fast Track Translational Project, and Fast Track Commercial Project was introduced, and in the same way, even CSIR is working today for granting the fund for the various laboratories. And since he has worked at a CSIR also as an interim director, he was knowing ins and outs of the CSIO Chandigarh, and that has inspired us and helped the CSIO to acquire large number of projects from the CSIR during his time. I will say the maximum number of projects any lab which has got in the CSIO is during Dr. Girish Sahni's conceptual aspect of FTTP project. And similarly, when one project was about to prototype was developed, industrial, it is required to be commercialized. He helped us to apply for the fast track commercialization project. And those projects were funded very timely with his guidance. So he was a true leader. And I could learn that from basic research to how to make a product and how to bring the industry was his main interest. So from research publication to developing a prototype and product, I think the CSIR has got a true leadership, and that is still continuing with the visionary mind of Dr. Sahni. Dr. Sahani's leadership in steering key scientific projects and promoting collaborative research has left a lasting impact on nation's progress in science and technology. Even other associations like the DBT and other funding agencies also followed this path, and they are continuing to do. So on this time, his demise was indeed sudden and untimely. I had a long memories to work in his guidance, particularly when he assigned me the charge to look after the IMTech. And representing IMTech at the directors meeting, many a time he has helped me. He could understood that I am not from the biology. So that sense, I find that not only he was a scientist, but he has a great human touch also, and how to help the person to accomplish the task. So our heartfelt condolences to his family, particularly to his wife and the two children and loved ones during this difficult time. But I am sure he must be inspiring. He is physically not present, but his work is still alive. So I offer my deep condolences to family member, and may his soul rest in peace. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Dr. Sinha, for sharing those experiences. Thank you. I now request Dr. S. Anant Ramakrishna, ex-director CSIO, has been the director since the other day. Dr. S. Anant Ramakrishna, please unmute. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, namaskar. I first of all thank Professor Arun Grover and SPSTI for involving me into today's condolence meeting. I had initially met Dr. Sahni, Girish Sahni at CSIR headquarters during one of the CSIR RA interviews and so on. But otherwise, my interactions with him after I became director CSIO was not as a colleague, he had retired by then, but they were more as an interaction between me and a mentor. I found that Dr. Sahni, he had been a director of CSIO also for in the interim, holding additional charge for about a year. He was very passionate about CSIO doing very well. He had a very good insight on what were the good things about CSIO, what were the issues with CSIO, and all those things. And he always invariably would support CSIO in various attempts to get funding, or whether it was some conducting some programs, getting certain guests, and so on. He always helped us in every possible way, whether small or big. And he would invariably be present in every meeting that we invited him to bless us, to bless the proceedings, and make sure that the program actually went off well. As director, when I was in CSIO, of course, we know that all of us are affected by various issues of bureaucracy and various things that do happen in all our institutions. Dr. Sahni was always available to me to give us good advice, to always tell me what was the right thing to do. He was very clear that mediocrity was something to be avoided, and to foster excellence, whatever were the steps that had to be taken, they should be taken. And he would even guide me on what the kind of steps to take to foster excellence in the laboratory. So even after I left CSIO, we had a couple of chats, and over the phone. He would always be available to me over the phone. He would not mind chatting with me for more than, let's say, half an hour to an hour sometimes, and just so that he could actually help me in some way or the other. That was always his the viewpoint, how to help the system, how to make it get better. So I think, though I didn't know him personally as a colleague, I had heard of him, of his prowess, of his achievements, of his accomplishments in the area of microbiology and all the blockbuster drugs that he formulated and developed and so on. His vision as DG CSIR has definitely helped CSIR wonderfully well, because the funding, the way the funding should be done, the modalities of the funding, the rules by which it could be given, and so on, they are very robust, and they have helped CSIR in the long run now, because it's many years, it's almost 10 years since he formulated them, and they are going on well. Overall, I believe the world of science lost a doyen. The CSIR has lost a very cherished leader, and I have lost a good friend. So we are all with you, with the grieving family, in offering our heartfelt condolences. And we believe that today, Dr. Girish Sahni has become one amongst all of us. Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Ananta. You shared your experiences of director-director interactions. Very interesting. Thank you. I now request Dr. D.K. Aswal, former director of NPL, National Physical Laboratory, New Delhi. Dr. Aswal. My party देखिए Dr. Aswal. So most probably नहीं है. We can take it up later. I request Dr. Jatinder Kaur Arora from Chandigarh. She is the former director of Punjab State Council of Science and Technology. Very dynamic person, Dr. Arora. Jatinder.
Thank you, Kiaji. Thank you, Professor Arun Grover and SPSTI for bringing us all together here to reminisce our association with Dr. Sahni, our memories with him. Thank you. I vividly recall that on many occasions, me and Dr. Girish Sahni discussing the key commonality among us, the enthusiasm, the desire to bring science and technology's applications at the forefront, mainstream the applications for benefit of society. I can tell you, Chanda ji, that I hosted Patent Information Center of DST and Technology Innovation Support Center of WIPO UN. And the strongest example of monetization of IP, of the utilization of IP for societal benefit that the innovators of Punjab know is of Dr. Girish Sahni. Also, at the COVID times, readily we could have have IMTech open its doors for COVID testing was only because Dr. Girish Sahni had put in so much of effort to build up the biosafety laboratories in IMTech, which could be available to many in Punjab and also in UT Chandigarh and also to the northern states. And hats off to you, Chandaji, the way you have, with a very poised smile, have been absorbing, have been nodding to every word which was said at his prayer meeting and today. I can say it was blissful to know Dr. Girish Sahni, and it's equally blissful to know you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jatinder ji. That was very impressive aspects of Dr. Sahni's work in the public domain. Thank you for bringing it out. Next on my list is Dr. Inderpal Singh, former Director CSIR HRDG and Senior Scientist CSIO. Dr. Inderpal Singh.
Good afternoon to all. It is with great honor and deep respect that I am speaking before you today to pay tribute to an exceptional leader, scientist, and a mentor to me, Dr. Sahni. My association with Dr. Sahni spans over several significant phases of my career, and each chapter has left a lasting impression on me, both professionally and personally. Our first connection goes way back in 1996 to 2000, when we worked together at IMTech as colleagues. During that time, I witnessed his brilliance in his area of research, but what stood even more was his warmth, approachability, and the friendliness. During the period 2015 to 2018, when he became the Director General, Dr. Sahni took over a different role in my professional life as my boss in his capacity as a Director General CSIR. Even with the enormous responsibility of leading one of India's most prestigious scientific organization, he remained the same approachable and friendly person. I never felt the hesitation or formality that often comes with the hierarchical positions. He encouraged dialogues, valued the perspectives of all, and led with the wisdom of seasoned scientists coupled with compassion of a true mentor. My third stint was with Dr. Sahni was during 2018 to 22, when he became the Bhatnagar Fellow, a prestigious scheme which I had the privilege of administrating. In this phase, despite his stature and accomplishments, Dr. Sahni was always open to discussion, full of ideas, and constantly exploring new frontiers. Dr. Sahni's legacy is not just in the groundbreaking research he has conducted or the institutions he has led, but in the countless lives he has touched with his wisdom, guidance, and generosity of spirit. May his legacy remains a source of inspiration for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Inderpal Singh. Thank you. And next on my list is Dr. Purnendu Gupta Sharma, IISER Mohali. Dr. Purnendu, are you there? He has been a colleague of Dr. Girish Sahni I don't think he has joined. Okay. So next, I will call upon Dr. Arvind of IISER Mohali. Dr. Arvind is the former Vice Chancellor of Punjabi University, Patiala. Dr. Arvind.
Yeah. First of all, I offer my deepest condolences on the to Professor Girish, Dr. Girish Sahni. As I think I will leave from where Professor Satyamurthy left, that when IISER Mohali was set up, it was Professor Sahni who kind of extended all the support. And I met him first time when I came to Chandigarh to IISER Mohali in 2007, and discovered in my first meeting with him that we were both alumnus of IISc Bangalore, and that started a bond between us. As the first Dean R&D, the Foundation Day lecture and the Research Advisory Committee meetings were organized, and I was very much part of that. And Dr. Sahni put in all his energy. I mean, he did not treat formal fora as just a way of, completing the job. He would put in his energy, he would make suggestions, whatever will come to his mind. And therefore, I think in the beginning years, IISER Mohali benefited very strongly from Dr. Sahni. A few months ago, he had visited Punjabi University, and in his usual enthusiastic way, he spoke to the undergraduate students, and he gave 2 talks. And one of the talks was about, of course, his work. Another was about innovation. And I think that was a very, very remarkable talk. And I somehow felt that, as a scientist, as a success story in science, as a success story of an activity which was also entrepreneurial in nature, I think we have, I mean, it's in this meeting, I would like to put in on record that in this region, particularly in Punjab, we did not celebrate Girish Sahni's work to the extent that we should have. And therefore, because when we're talking about innovation, when we're talking about startups, when we're talking about science industry, connect and all that, I think icons like Dr. Sahni should be highlighted. I mean, now it's too late. Not too late because it's his legacy, but when he was around, we should have utilized his expertise much more for Punjab, for this region. Although we are single country, but I think regional context is very important. I do not see Government of Punjab and Punjab State Council of Science and Technology taking a lot of interest in connecting scientists of Punjab origin with the institutions and people and students here. So I think that's one thing I would definitely like. I felt on that day when he connected so strongly with the undergraduate students. On the personal front, I would say that he was a very warm person. And for me, he had a special thing. He was very encouraging. Being much older, meeting him for me was an experience that if you are worried about something, if something is not going well, after meeting him, you always felt very happy because he was always in a positive, happy mood and mode. And I think that's what he will be remembered for. It has been a shock. I mean, I was actually thinking that since I learned my lesson after his talk, I thought I will talk to him and see how do we interact with more students in Punjab, how to take Girish Sahni to many more locations in Punjab, and so that he can interact with younger students and motivate them. But maybe now we should use his legacy and move on this project. With these words, I again offer my deepest condolences to the family, and I think it's a loss for the scientific community of the country and of this region particularly.
Kiaji, please invite Dr. Anil Tripathi, Director IISER.
Thank you, Dr. Arvind, for sharing your thoughts, and we shall certainly find ways to carry forward the legacy. Thanks for pointing it out. And Professor Anil Tripathi, to say a few words, will be obliged. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Grover, and thank you, Professor K.R. Dharambir. It's a privilege to be here today on this occasion when we are mourning a very iconic scientist of the country. Uh, I was not so privileged to have a long association with Dr. Sahni, but whatever little association I had with him as a director of CSIR CMAP and he as a DG CSIR, I have great memories of that because I came from a university to a CSIR system, and he made me to think entirely differently with a very larger perspective of addressing the needs of the country. And he was an embodiment of a scientist who could do basic as well as translational research at the same time. And he was always a strong advocate that translational research and basic research should go hand in hand. And that is how he was probably the best fit to lead CSIR. And I'm so grateful to him that, just after a couple of years of our interaction, not very close, he picked me up as a leader of the CSR Aroma mission. And CSR Aroma mission is today one of the most prominent stories of the CSIR. And I asked him that, why do you pick me up for this? Because I don't have enough exposure of CSR system. I don't know where from he had a strong confidence. He said that I have confidence in you, you can do that. And that was a great booster for me. And I thought that probably he had picked me early and he has not known me, but I must prove myself. And that is how I tried my level best to see that his expectations are fulfilled. And I mean, quite satisfied that the kind of impact Dr. Sahni wanted on the country from this aroma mission that actually got realized. And I just heard the sentiments of Dr. Sanjay Kumar. I entirely agree, 100% agree. I don't have better words than what Sanjay Kumar has shared about Dr. Sahni and his leadership, his qualities, his personal life. Life as a person and as a human being. There are two things which have given me, two opportunities which have given me a unique opportunity, a unique occasion to know Dr. Sahni better as a person, of a humane person, and a person who had some spiritual interest. When he visited Varanasi after his tenure was over, we together went to Kabir Math and we discussed a lot of things about philosophy. And before that, we had gone to Tehran together, and during that delegation, we had opportunities of discussing a lot of personal things, a lot of his personal experiences, and I could see that a very strong urge for serving the nation was there in Dr. Sahni, which was quite infectious, and I can see that all of us who have come in contact with that, we are all infected by his enthusiasm and his urge to serve the nation. So, with these couple of words, I know the time is short. I would not like to say more about it, but I would like to thank Professor Grover and SPSTI for giving me this opportunity. My heartfelt condolences for Dr. Girish Sahni, and my sentiments of sharing this feeling with Dr. Mrs. Sahni. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Tripathi, particularly for coming forward to share those stories. Thank you. I now request our colleague from Punjab University, Dr. Manmohan Gupta, who is also an emeritus professor at Punjab University and ex-coordinator of Trixie. Manmohan ji, please unmute yourself.
Good morning, good afternoon, all of you. First of all, I would like to thank Professor Grover, Professor K. Dharamveer, and Mr. Dharamveer for giving me this opportunity to be part of a memorial meeting about a man whom I admired a lot. He was a great, passionate scientist, passionate technologist, great human being, and a great institution builder. So with that very brief, and I would mention that my interaction started with him when we were to formulate CRIC. In fact, Professor Grover joined Punjab University as Vice Chancellor in July 2012. And one of the first initiative he took was to create a sort of platform where there are about 15 distinguished institutions, very prominent institutions in this region. And his idea was that they have to connect together and work in a particular direction. And we had decided that it should be biological sciences which should be playing the prominent role. And in that case, Girish Sahni's presence was very much required. And I remember that Professor Sahni, Dr. Sahni played a very crucial role in helping Professor Grover and myself and others in formulating this. I very distinctly remember a very important meeting, 2013, when the CRIC document was to be signed, some kind of agreement between all the institution to collaborate on an academic platform. After Professor Grover had signed, and I was very nervous whether all the scientists would, or this heads of the institution would agree or not. Professor Sahni took the document and didn't think even, just did not think for a second and signed it. After he had signed, all other scientists also, heads of the institution signed it. And I was thanking God that, okay, so our mission is successful. And after that, of course, the idea of CRIC, pioneered over, has been accepted by the country, even the PMO. I know there are several, you can say, cluster which are running. And I'm sure that the idea has seeds for future activity or motivating younger scientists, particularly in this region, particularly related to biosciences, where they can make their contribution. See, after that, I had my interaction started at that time. I found Professor Sahni very accessible. In fact, whenever I called him, if he's not there, he will call back. And that was very interesting. He was always ready to help CRIC with material help as well as otherwise also. In fact, I know that whenever we wanted to hold a meeting, his this IMTech was always available to us, and his help was always available to us. Moreover, during all this discussion, I found him that he is basically a humanist who want to help the society, and that is why I'm sure that I was amazed that if he wanted to make millions, he could have easily made millions by moving abroad or collaborating with multinationals. And that is where he revealed me that his aim is to help the country and help the poor people. That really impressed me. So in fact, I would say that he has left a legacy, a profound legacy, which I'm sure that the country at large and the region in particular would carry forward, because he was one of the very few cases where pure science is translated to technology and to the benefit of the larger, you can say, poor segment or larger segment of the society. So with these very brief remarks, I would not like to delve too much on it, and I would just say that in the end that his untimely death is a big loss to the region, personally to me also, and of course, a big loss to the scientific community. I pray to God that his soul should rest in peace and give strength to the family to bear this loss. So with these brief remarks, I would say thank you all for giving me this opportunity to express my views. Thank you. Om Shanti. Om Shanti.
Thank you, Professor Gupta. Manmohan ji has aptly recalled these contributions and connections. Thanks for that. Now I call upon Professor Dr. Naveen Gupta, Department of Microbiology. Dr. Gupta is Chairperson, Department of Microbiology, where Girish Sahni studied for his BSc and MSc.
Very good afternoon to all of you. Right away, I'm thankful to Dr. Grover and the whole team of SPSTI for organizing today's meet. While I'm speaking on this in this meeting, I am feeling myself as very lucky and proud that I'm heading a department where a stalwart like Dr. Sahni has studied once upon a time. And I have lots of people have talked about his scientific and administrative temperaments and his contributions. I had a connect with him in little different capacity also. Personally, I had a connect with him when I was a student as a PhD research fellow in early 90s when I joined the IMTech, and I have seen him working as a senior scientist. So I can recalling it all very clearly, all the discussions which we used to have with him, all the students, not only myself as a scientist, as scientific discussions, encouraging discussions, informal as well as informal meetings at IMTech. So, and I must like to add here that I always found that he was a ever helping person to help all the students of IMTech across the laboratories, whosoever scientists the students were working in. And another thing I have watched him, which I think some of you might not have, I have seen him working on the benches of IMTech laboratories himself as a scientist, doing the experiments, holding those autopipettes I was recalling since yesterday evening, doing all those experiments himself with his students, and even sometimes late evenings, late nights. So all those memories are very clear in my mind. And I have also seen him contributing to the science as an administrator in a different way, that contributing to the build-up of this IMTech, where the IMTech was at a very initial stage when I joined, as I said, in early 90s. So he contribute. So what I like to say is that he contributed in building this institute much before he took as a director, much before he took as a DGCSIR, when all these buildings were being designed, when all these labs were being shifted. I have seen him working as a very vibrant person in building up that institute. So all these things are very clear in my mind. And after, if I recall his memories beyond IMTech, he was very much connected to his roots at the Department of Microbiology. When I joined in the Department of Microbiology as faculty in the early 2000s, so I have seen in the departmental meetings, in departmental conferences, in scientific discussions, even sometimes informal occasions I can recall when we used to call him that you visit our department, we wish to discuss with you. He was always available to the faculty as well as to the students. So that was great of him. He always talked big about my department and his Department of Microbiology and Punjab University at large. So that was so good of him. And one episode which I very much recall, and which is really, I will say, sometimes disturbs my mind also. I was with him at his house on 31st of July morning, just I will say 19 days back before we lost him. I visited his house for two reasons. I had to get some of my documents signed for some fellowship recommendations, and for an invitation to give a lecture in the department to kickstart a weekly lecture series. I spent with him about half an hour sitting in his house drawing rooms, and very wisdom words which he gave me. He just taught me even that short spell of 15-20 minutes, that now you are a chairperson, how you can do the better administration. And I recall that immediately after coming to my lab, I discuss all his discussion with my research scholars. I was so happy. I told them that I met a great person today after small time, and that was a great opportunity for me. So definitely we have lost a great scientist, and as to me as a teacher, we have lost a person of great caliber. On behalf of Department of Microbiology, as Professor M.M. Gupta said, I promise that we will like to keep his legacy alive in our department. We will keep on encouraging our students from a faculty side, from our departmental side, so that I think if we make some of the more scientists from our department of our university, like Dr. Sahni, that he will definitely love to see that we are keeping his legacy alive, and I promise that on behalf of my department. I also pay my deep condolences on the behalf of, again, my whole faculty, my whole department, my whole staff, that we have lost him, but he will always be alive in our hearts, in the personal hearts, and in our department. So thank you very much. That's what I have to say. Thank you so much.
So KI,
Thank you.
Dr. Aswal has joined, Dinesh Aswal, former director, NPL Delhi.
Okay. So thank you, Dr. Gupta, for sharing memories. And I find it amazing that he remained connected to his old department till now. Before we go over to the next on the list, I would request Dr. Aswal to unmute himself. Dr. Aswal is former director of NPL. Dr. Aswal, please.
नमस्कार, मैं दिनेश असवाल एंड मैं बहुत दुखी हूँ डॉक्टर गिरीश साहनी के जाने से. 2015 में व्हेन आई वाज अपॉइंटेड एज ए डायरेक्टर ऑफ एनपीएल, somehow I didn't want to leave BARC. And I had a foreign visit during that time. And I requested Dr. Sahni that I will not be able to join because I have to leave for a foreign trip. And that day he was in US और वहाँ से मुझे कॉल किया, अरे बोला तुम ज्वाइन कर लो, मैं छुट्टी तुमको NPL से दिला दूंगा. And I listened to him and I joined NPL. And immediately after joining that, he allowed me to go for 1 month to Japan. He was very friendly. All the time he will have that smiley word, very concrete, one sentences, two sentences kind of narration. तो जब हम मिलते थे शाम को तो one of the requirement for nation was, can we have an Indian Standard Time of the World record? And then I said that, of course, we will require around 20 crore rupees. Can you believe that in few meetings, we got a approval of 20 crore rupees. And within a period of 18 months, we delivered that time. And now I am proud to say that India has one of the best time of 2.8 nanosecond accuracy in the world, which was dedicated to the nation by Honorable Prime Minister on 4 January 2021. He was a quick decision maker and thinking of the nation all the time. कई बार बात होती है ना, अपने लिए बहुत सारा करते हैं, देश के लिए कुछ करना चाहिए. And that was the soul he was. And there was in numerous occasions in 2016 when we made the India International Science Festival at NPL campus. We had more than 10,000 students, faculty members, registered participants, more than few lakh of footfalls. Many times वो बोलते थे, यार होगा कि नहीं होगा, बहुत मुश्किल काम है. Then I should say हो जाएगा. And we had that kind of rapport to look for the nation, how the nation can go ahead. And he was absolutely brilliant, absolutely brilliant. His untimely demise is definitely a sad part to the nation and his vision of development of a nation. Om Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Aswal, for joining us. And you have shared some exciting memories. Thanks. Next on my list is Mr. Suyog Jain, who is a close friend of Dr. Girish Sahni and belongs to the business world. Mr. Suyog Jain.
First of all, thank you, Professor Grover, and thank you, SPTI, to make me part of this elite panel. I'm the only non-scientist probably in this panel, but nevertheless, no less connected to Dr. Sahni than any of you. I'm so proud of my bond with him. I've known Dr. Sahni for almost 2 decades. Since the time as a director in tech, he invited Chandigarh pharma entrepreneurs to IMTech for discussions. But our association grew very strong when I started implementing our fermentation project Kinman in Himachal Pradesh. This project is the first one in India to manufacture clavulanic acid from the basic fermentation stage. And once commissioned, it will replace 40% of India's requirement and reduce our dependence on China and Korea. In fact, today there is a coverage in the Tribune on our project mentioning the same. Dr. Sahni helped me build a vision for Kinman, which is far beyond clavulanic acid. He told me we can add proteins, probiotics, oncology, and many other products into the master plan. With Girish sir as my mentor, we were extremely confident of optimizing the product portfolio and getting the best technologies. I would have been the happiest person to have Dr. Sahni by our side when the Honorable Prime Minister inaugurates our plant next week. We'll miss him. He was there at the Bhumi Pujan with us. We have the tree planted by Dr. Sahni at our unit, but we'll miss him at the inauguration, the formal inauguration. Over time, our connection grew far beyond the professional sphere. We shared a beautiful bond that was deep, intellectual, and even soulful. He became my friend, philosopher, guide, and mentor. I think his biggest quality was humility. Despite being such a high achiever, he could make everyone around him feel very special. He had a childlike enthusiasm for new ideas, scientific research, absolute optimist in his approach to life. Like Dr. Ajay Sood said, he wanted to convert science into technology. He would always tell me, government can only be an enabler. They can make policies, but projects have to be put in by industrialists. He was constantly following up our project. I remember the day our first 250 KL fermenter was installed. The first message I received was not from my project manager or anybody at the site. It was Dr. Sahni. History made in India, first 250 KL fermenter installed. So that was the kind of enthusiasm he had. Like, it was absolutely infectious. I will miss him a lot. Our discussion would span hours, diving into a wide array of topics: politics, spirituality, science, each conversation more enriching than the last one. All of us gathered here must make sure his legacy will live on and we uphold his values. I think nothing will give him more joy as he watches over us. Rest in peace, my friend. You will be missed more than you know.
Thank you, Mr. Jan. I'm really glad that Mr. Suyog Jan joined this meeting because you gave a very interesting glimpse into the collaboration between industry and science. Thank you.
Yeah.
Next, I request Dr. Rajat Sandhir to come and say a few words. Rajat is the coordinator of Pi Rahi Punjab University and is also from the Department of Biochemistry. Dr. Rajat Sandhir.
Yeah, I think his phone is dead. He has sent a message before the phone died. Just read out that message. It's there in your phone.
Okay, I'll take that up next. Dr. Pushpendra Singh. He is the coordinator of Pi Rahi from IIT Ropar. Pushpendra, I don't see him. Join किया है क्या? पुष्पेंद्र भी नहीं दिख रहा है? ठीक है. Dr. Rohit Sharma, I can see him. Dr. Sharma is coordinator BIRAC and ex-chairperson Department of Microbial Technology, Punjab University. Rohit ji.
Good afternoon. At the outset, my heartfelt condolences on the untimely demise of our teacher, our mentor, Dr. Girish. I have had an opportunity to interact with Sir at different stages of my career. These interactions began somewhere in mid-90s when I was a research scholar carrying out my project in laboratory at IMTech. Then me working as a scientist at NIPER, and then when I joined Punjab University as a faculty. He was always popularly known as a scientist par excellence amongst the young researchers. We were very fortunate that he inaugurated our department's new building in 2016, that is Department of Microbial Biotechnology, where I'm a professor, and also the building of Cluster Innovation Center in Biotechnology at Punjab University, funded by BIRAC, when he was the Director General CSIR. Professor Grover was the Vice Chancellor at that time, and he inaugurated this building. I had many opportunities to get his blessings as a mentor. He always was a grand support to all the young colleagues, supporting them through their thick and thin. His demise is a great loss to all of us in the scientific community. I'm really very unfortunate because last meeting which I had with Sir, he told me, Rohit, we will sit together and I wish to interact with you to know more on what you are doing for the startups, this ecosystem building. And he was always promotive. This is not only a professional loss to me and a very big loss to Ma'am Prateek and his son. It is also a very big loss to some of the researchers who were really groomed by Sir one time. And it's a very long association that I've had with Sir at different stages in the last 3 decades. I really don't have words which I can, express my, deep condolences. Thank you.
Thank you, Rohit ji. Thank you, Dr. Sharma, for those words. I have now located Rajat Sandhir's message. Dr. Rajat Sandhir is from Punjab University, and he writes, "We appreciate SPSTI for organizing the memorial meeting for Dr. Girish Sahni, former DG CSIR. On behalf of Northern Region Science and Technology Cluster, Pi Rahi, we were looking up to him for his mentorship to drive the agenda of the cluster. His untimely demise is a big loss to the region. I would like to highlight one aspect of his personality to motivate young minds. He never said no to us for events like Science Day and Indian Science Congress, etc. We had a wonderful interaction with him during the Hargobind Khurana centenary celebrations. The void left by him will take a long time to fill. Condolences to friends and family. This was Professor Rajat Sandhi from Punjab. I now request Dr. Nishima Wangu, who will represent INYAS, Indian National Young Associate of Young Academy of Scientists. Nishima is from UIT Punjab University. Dr. Nishima.
Thank you, ma'am. Firstly, I would like to thank SPSDI, Professor Grover, Professor Kia Dharamveer, and Mr. Dharamveer for arranging this memorial meeting for Dr. Girish Sahni. Today, I would like to talk about him as a PhD research scholar, because when I was doing my PhD at IMTech, he was the director at that time. So I would like to point out 4 different things about Dr. Sahni. So first thing is, we all know about his contribution to science in the form of streptokinase. But I think very few people know about his contribution to other fields of science as well. Because when I joined 20 years back, when I joined in IMTech for my research work, so I was starting a new field, work in a new field called nanoscience and nanotechnology, which was never ever done at IMTech before. So Dr. Girish Sahni was so encouraging. He always told me, yes, go ahead, do it. And he would provide us with all the support. My supervisor, Professor Bhasin, is also here. He would agree with me that he never ever created any sort of problem. He always said that although we are a microbial institute, but go ahead, do your nanoscience for immunodiagnostic applications. And when we got prizes in various forums in these conferences, etc. So Dr. Sahni was so happy. He would always encourage us a lot. And I would also say that he was very helpful and empathetic towards the research scholars, not only to his own group, but to the other groups as well. And in fact, those who worked at IMTech would remember that we had only 15 minutes for that tea, coffee break. So what he did was he got installed coffee vending machines for the research scholars and for the scientists. And so, as young scholars, sometimes we would go at odd hours also to have coffee, and we would think that Dr. Sahni would notice us. So that one coffee machine was near library. In fact, Dr. Jolly is here, he would remember. And there were stairs going up to his office, just adjacent to that library and that coffee vending machine. So once we were having coffee over there, and it was during the lab hours. So we didn't notice that he was coming towards the library, and he noticed that we were sitting there. And when we saw him, we hid ourselves behind the vending machine, fearing that he might say something to us. And to our surprise, he came from the back and told us, hello, I've seen you all, go back to your lab. So he had that kind of, he was very, very sharp also. He would notice everything, and he was always smiling and energetic. When streptokinase thing was done in his lab, he and his whole group was so happy, so energetic. They distributed sweets to all of us, and we were so excited about that thing. And as ma'am also said, that he was very, very spiritual. I remember that after my PhD, after my postdoc, when I joined at PU, sometimes when he used to come over there, I used to tell him, he used to ask me, how's your work going on? I said that, sir, work is going on fine, but I'm facing some kind of, administrative problems, bureaucratic problems. And he would always tell me, don't worry, Nishima, Prabhu pe chhod do. He would manage all. So, that one sentence I always keep in my mind, that ठीक है, वो है, प्रभु है, वो देख लेंगे. So I noticed that he was so spiritual also. And last thing that I would say is that I met him in February this year all of us who are in the SPSTI would remember that we had a memorial meeting for Professor Nityananda in February this year. So he was there in Department of Chemistry, and he was when the meeting was over, the meeting was not over, but he had some work. He told me that there was some car repair or something, he had to get it done. So he was going back to the this parking area where me and Rajat Sandhir sir, we met him. And sir, I said, how are you, sir? And how are things going on? And he told me that, Nishima, so you're publishing in nanoscience. I'm reading your papers. Remember, I'm seeing your papers. I'm following you. I was so elated and shocked also. I said, sir, are you reading my papers? He said, yes, and I will come to your lab and I will meet your scholars. I will advise you how to go ahead. But unfortunately, this news came in, and we were all so shocked, and it was so painful to hear that he is no longer with us. But I'm very sure all of us would agree that whatever he has taught us and his legacy will always remain. And even if I can just pass on 1% of what he taught us as a director of IMTech to my own research scholars, I would be very, very happy. So thank you so much, and may the pious soul rest in peace. Thank you.
So there is one doctor, Rajesh Gupta.
Yeah, he's on the list. He's on the list. So thank you, Nishima. Those were wonderful glimpses and vignettes. Thank you. So I now request Dr. Rajesh Gupta. Would you please unmute yourself, Dr. Rajesh Gupta?
Hello, everyone. It's very difficult to talk about Dr. Sahni. I was his postdoc from 94 to 96. And it was a very exciting time in the lab. I was there for 2 years, and I can keep talking about what we did, what we like as a team and all. And you will see here, Deepak is here, Paramjit is here from that time. And what a man he was, what a scientist. I get emotional talking about him. And me and Deepak talk a lot. And whenever we talk, hardly any time we don't talk about Dr. Sahni. Always say, hey, what's he's up to, what is he doing? And it's such sweet memories. And the bond that mentees have with their mentors is special. They always remain their mentors. We will always remember him that way. And I always appreciate him, like what I learned in his lab as a guide and everything. I won't take much time. I will get emotional. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Gupta, for joining us. Thank you indeed. And it's amazing that so many people have brought forth such various kinds of connections, such various facets of his personality. And from the audience, if there is anybody who would like to take a minute.
Professor Jitendra Mohan.
Jitendra Mohan, please, would you please like to say something? Professor Jitendra Mohan. Anybody else? Please unmute yourself and start talking. Professor Jitendra Mohan, unmute kariye. Aap muted hai. Haan. Right.
It's a privilege to join this group, to pay homage to the great Dr. Sahni. What I heard today, I wish people could say when he was present. He would have liked it. I like to say only one small couplet in his honor, that his life was not very easy. Like any other scientist, to work in the field of science has always been a challenge to all of us, whosoever it is. उनकी शान में मैं सिर्फ ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि साइंस से प्यार करना आसान नहीं है, ये इश्क नहीं है आसान। मैं दोबारा रिपीट करना चाहता हूँ, ये इश्क नहीं है आसान, एक आग का दरिया है और डूब के जा रहा है। दोस्तों, आज हम सब डॉक्टर साहनी को नमस्कार करते हैं और भगवान से प्रार्थना करते हैं जहां भी हो वो लोगों को इसी तरह इंस्पायर करते रहें और आने वाली जनरेशन सोचे कि कैसे साहनी साहब बना जा सकता है। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you could ask Dr. Rajinder Singh if he wishes to add something.
Rajendra Singh, you have attended
Oh,
most of this.
so thank you very much. As far as the death and life are concerned, I'm a little bit not very sensitive person. We have heard many views today. For me, there are very few who will see the website or YouTube. There will be many less who will take time. For me, what we talk, it disappear in the air for some time. If you really want to make a legacy of the person, the best way is to write his or her biography. At this stage, I would request Sahni family to do this work. And for me, that will be the greatest legacy. And with that, we can keep the legacy much longer than we will do when we are only talking. So that is my request on the family. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Rajendra Singh. I'm glad you said that. Thanks. And Mahipal ji, देखिए किसी का हाथ उठाए. So we can see, we don't see any hands which have been raised.
Yeah, I'm Prabhu Patil.
Yes, please go ahead.
So
Just 1 minute, please.
yeah, I have unmuted. So thank you for organizing this memorial meeting for Dr. Sahni. I am Prabhu Patil from IMTech. In fact, I joined when Dr. Sahni was director, and whatever my journey, whatever I could achieve, I owe to his support and guidance and encouragement. And in fact, I am a bacterial geneticist by training, but he made me realize the importance of bacterial taxonomy. And I'm happy to share that in my lab at IMTech, we isolated a new microbe that is a very promising probiotic and plant protection endophyte. So we have named it after Dr. Sahni as Lutibacter Sahni, and I'm fortunate I could inform him about that, and I took his permission when he was with us, and we know that how a strong personality he was, and he's a very infectious energy and smile and personality, and we will always feel that he will be among us every time. And thank you, sir, and thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Prabhu Patil. Is there anybody else who would like to say? Mr. Neeraj, have you unmuted yourself?
जी मैम, मैं कुछ कहना चाहूँगा थोड़ा सा डॉक्टर साहनी के बारे में। मैं
Yes,
डॉक्टर
please.
साहनी का स्टूडेंट रहा 2006 से 2011 तक, और मैंने उनके साथ टेक्नोलॉजीज डेवलप करी, क्लाउड बस्टर वगैरह। तो ही इज़ अ कांस्टेंट सोर्स ऑफ इंस्पिरेशन, और काफ़ी अच्छा समय और काफ़ी अच्छी मेंटरशिप मैंने उनसे मिली। ही इज़ लाइक फादर काइंड ऑफ फिगर टू मी। मैं चाहता हूँ कि डॉक्टर साहनी के नाम से अगर कोई एमटेक में फेलोशिप स्टार्ट हो सके या फिर बच्चों को अवार्ड दिया जा सके तो आई एम रियली ग्रेटफुल। और मेरी भावभीनी श्रद्धांजलि डॉक्टर साहनी को। थैंक यू।
Thank you, Dr. नीरज. बहुत अच्छी श्रद्धांजलि दी है आपने अपने गुरु को. और भी कोई बोलना चाहेंगे? Anybody else?
Thank you, ma'am. I am Deepak Nihalani, and I would like to say a few words in the honor of, my mentor, Dr. Girish Sahni. It's very difficult to say anything for me. I'm actually calling from USA. It's 4 a.m. here, and I just couldn't hold myself. Listening to all these, the tribute that everybody is paying to this great person. I mean, he's a great man, and his greatness cannot be captured in words. It's very difficult for me to say how great he was. I had the privilege and honor of being his kind of first graduate student who actually started the work on streptokinase. And that's an honor that he gave me to start this work, and look where it actually has gone. And I've always been so proud to be the part of his legacy, that he has left behind. But he was not only a mentor to me, he taught me so many things, just not scientifically, but also spiritually, as Chanda ma'am has actually, very well described his quality. Those were, the teachings that he actually gave us, not only me, but every student that came out of his lab. I think we are the few fortunate, students in this world who had the honor of receiving these teachings directly from him. And now it is up to us to keep that legacy alive, and hopefully, the mashal that he actually handed over to us, keep that alive and take it to the, for the next generation. In the end, I would only like to say that, sir, you retired from the life, but you will never retire from our hearts. You will always be in there. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Deepak Nihalani. It's very touching that you joined, and surely, I'm sure that the flag will be kept flying. Anybody else in the audience who would like to speak? For example, Dr. Yakhmi, are you there? Anybody else? Yakhmi.
Yeah, I'm there. Hello. I'm
Ji.
Yakhmi. I'm there. I have been listening to all the comments and tributes paid to Dr. Girish Sahni. He was a great man. I think he had miles to go. He went too early. He went away too early. He had a lot in himself left for the country. But I think his students, the way it appears that they are so enthused with his ideas, his students will take this mashal further. I'm very, very sure. My condolences to him. Thank you.
Thank you. We will wait for a few seconds. If there are no hands raised, nobody unmuting, then I request Professor R.K. Kohli to propose a vote of thanks, after which Mr. Dharamveer would like to. Maybe Mr. Dharamveer should say, Kohli साहब 1 minute wait करेंगे.
Please.
उनको बोल लेंगे. आप कुछ शेयर करना चाहते हैं?
हाँ, मैं शेयर करूँ.
Yeah, so please.
I had the privilege of interacting with Dr. Girish Sahni several times when I was in the service and later after my retirement. I learned a lot from him about the institutions and how institutions are built and groomed. I would like to mention a couple of interactions that I had with him. One, when he had set up
this institution in Mohali, we tried to build some kind of translational units in Haryana, border of in Panchkula in particular. We wanted whether this could be done, and in neighborhood of Panchkula where we live, Narayangarh site, and that was Bargil site, very environmental friendly at the bottom of bordering the hills there. While he approved it, but he felt that it was too far away from Mohali. But nonetheless, he did express his desire that if situation warrants, he would try to work for it. लेकिन मेरा retirement हो गया, and still I try to follow, but Mohali became a better place for the healthcare as well as the institutions. However, I must say that he built international level institution. A lot of people talk about him. And I have been there a couple of times. We have been, as I said, we enjoyed its infrastructure for carrying out some of the activities of SPSTI. He gladly agreed whenever we made a request. Country has lost a great person. More than that, I feel that as a humanity, we have lost. His work doesn't remain confined to the boundaries of India or Panchkula or Mohali. His work is relevant to mankind everywhere. मेरे को व्यक्तिगत से मैं उनके श्रद्धांजलि देता हूँ, और मेरे को थोड़ा सा इमोशनल अटैचमेंट भी है, क्योंकि वो हमेशा जब भी मिले तो मुझे उन्होंने सम्मान दिया, मेरी बात सुनी, और कभी ना कभी उन्होंने कुछ करने की भी कोशिश की. तो मैं उनकी फैमिली को आई पे माय रिस्पेक्ट्स एंड कंडोलेंसेस. धन्यवाद. जय हिंद.
Thank you, Dharamveer ji. I now request Professor Kohli to proceed with his vote of thanks. Professor Kohli.
Good afternoon to everyone. Thanks to Dr. Grover for assigning me this duty of proposing vote of thanks on this occasion. Before this, please permit me a minute to share my feelings about Dr. Girish Sahni. We all miss today and will keep missing our great inspiration, Dr. Girish Sahni ji. Incidentally, he was like my younger brother, as we share the same clan, Kukran, Khatri, and the same Gotra, Kashyap. I learned about it when his son told it to Panditji during the last rites on the ceremony, on this cremation ground. I was standing near him. One regret will remain with me, and that is that we could not visit each other's new house. When he was constructing, we were sharing the things, and he did say that I will come to you to see these things. I told him that I'll also come, but that regret is in my mind. I will visit you, ma'am, one day. I know he was a very good and caring son to his mom and dad. He would prefer not to leave the station for long for the reason of serving his mom. Dr. Sahni was a simple, thoroughly honest, accomplished scientist, and above all, an upright man. I am reminded of an incident. Once, before the start of his selection committee meeting for the selection of director NBRI. I was one of the experts, and before the meeting, he asked me, कोहली यार ये कैसे मैनेज करता है ये सिफारिशें इतनी इतने बड़े बंदों की आती हैं, हाउ डू यू मैनेज दैट? मैंने उनको बताया जो सिंपल फंडा है, एक या दो बार आप ब्लैंक नो कर दो, आपको कोई तंग नहीं करेगा आगे से. You have to take some courage to say no once or twice. That's all. The message goes to the public. तो तकरीबन उसके साल के बाद बात हुई, कहते हैं यार ये बात तेरी ठीक है, ऐसे ही किया मैंने. So I know he was a thorough, good, honest man. Well, we have all lost very untimely a great scientist, a good friend, and above all, an exemplary human being. On behalf of the organizers of this memorial meeting, including the Nasi Chandigarh chapter, and on my own behalf, I express thanks to you all for sparing your time to remember a great soul. Our special thanks to Madam Chandana Sahni ji, Sahni Parivar, for attending this meeting. Madam, we are all only a call away from you for any assistance whenever you feel like asking us. We will be there.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks to Spesti, Chandigarh chapter of Nasi, and all the scientists and non-scientists who could find time to join us in this memorial meeting. God bless you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. This will be on our website, Mahipalji, immediately. YouTube Circus of Science is already in motion. You can view it whenever you want. You can tell your friends that they can access it whenever they like. And we will put it on our website very soon, in a day or so.
Maybe we can supplement to our members.
YouTube ka link.
YouTube ka link.
So thank you very much. Thanks to each one of you for joining us
Thanks
today.
to you all. Thank you.
And thanks to Professor Grover and everyone else. And Mahipal and our team which had set up this.
Thank you all, and I may share with you in the end that we will have the biography of Dr. Girish Sahni written in a couple of years. I will try to persuade Rajinder Singh ji, who is visiting us end of this month, and we have also a sponsor to finance the production of this book. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Good information.
Thank you very much for organizing this memorial meeting for us all. Thank you so much.